to the OmniDog and OmniCat review show, comic book review show, starring OmniDog and OmniCat's Flirkin. There she is, right there. And let's see. Now, I'm not seeing. Oh, there's comments. Let's see. There's Jesse Say What. Jesse Say What, are you still with us? Say something to let me know that I did this right and that you're out there. Or anybody say something to let me know that you've been notified that this is working, because this is still a new thing to me. I believe I did everything right. This says we've been live for 42 seconds. But there's always something seems to be going on with notifications. People aren't getting notified properly with this new system. But Jesse Say What seemed to get notified at 149. So are you, Kristan, are you on? In the words of CC Music Factory, everybody dance now. Okay, so
and I got notified because I have your shit on a bell. Yeah.
Okay. So everything's cool. Everybody dance now. Okay. Okay, good. So we titled this thing the OmniDog and OmniCat comic book review show, so there can be no mistaking what it is. This is a review show for comic books. I guess I could have gotten fancy and put graphic novels, but I don't know.
They're still comics. They're just bound.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I have a good stack of what I read, and it reminds me that I need to finish. War of Kings. I hit a severe roadblock. I don't know if you heard about it. I hit a severe roadblock in the Darkhawk part of War of Kings, which caused me to dunk Darkhawk action figure into root beer Thursday night. And then my power started flickering for the next 3 hours. And we decided that Darkhawk cursed my house. And so
That's
I pulled
scary.
him. I know. So I pulled him out. I cleaned him up, but I'm not apologizing to him. I said I would apologize because once I cleaned him up, the power kept flickering. He was still mad at me, so I'm not apologizing to him. If the power had quit, I was going to make a special video apologizing to him, but the power just kept flickering. It was weird. There's not a cloud in the sky, and it just kept blinking on and off 12 different times.
I don't like that.
No, I don't like that either. It was like we were living in Tanzania or some country like that. I don't know. I'm not digging it. But you also don't curse yourself, Jess. I know. Don't. No, my power is not cursed, Worlds in Ink. My power is back to normal. It's 100 degrees outside.
Ugh, it's terrible.
Yeah, is it bad where you are too?
It's bad. The humidity's crazy. I think it feels like 105 outside.
Yeah, I think that's right. We are under a severe heat watch. My dog goes outside and I immediately coax her back in. I don't even want her out there. Babylon Shadows. Wait, let's see. I can isolate that and then bring up his question.
Fancy.
Yeah, that episode was funny. I'd love to see a Netflix series about Jess being cursed by the spirit of the toy, but he refuses to take the toy out of the drink. Okay. Now, Kristan, do you prefer this format or that format?
Well, we can see more books this way.
Sure. Whatever you want. It's fine with me.
That's cool.
But this way, we get a little bit closer to the Flirkin. I know I want to see that pin in.
Oh yeah.
Let's.
You want to do that
now? Sure. Kristan, go ahead and tell us about this pin. Let's see if I can highlight how I can highlight you. How can I highlight you?
I don't know. You have all the power back there.
I know. I can highlight me, but how do I highlight you?
Oh no. It's still pretty close. You're right. It's still pretty close.
Yeah, okay.
Well, my husband Reed and I, we love enamel pins. Love enamel pins. And Reed is like the biggest Hey Arnold fan ever. I love Hey Arnold, but I'm not like him. Like, he could quote every episode. It's ridiculous. So, and you guys know Rogue is my favorite X-Men character of all time. So he surprised me with this amazing mashup pin. If it'll focus on that.
Oh. Yeah, it's right there, yeah.
It's so
and
good.
I forget what her name was.
Helga and Brainy.
Helga, right.
Yeah. And the guy who always breathed behind her that she punched in the face is Brainy. So that's Rogue and Gambit. It's so
My
good.
My daughter and I used to watch that show all the time.
Oh, it's so good.
That was, I mean, that's just genius to think of that, I think.
Yeah, that's like a perfect mashup.
As Rogue and Gambit. I mean, that is just genius to think of that.
And the art is just perfect. It's amazing.
And now, what will you do with that? Will you put it on a backpack or a board or a shirt or jean jacket?
We get like canvases that you paint on, but the black kind. We get like I don't know what the size is, pretty big size of them, and we fill them up with pins. So I'll have to bring that on the next show. We have like 2 or 3 now filled with pins.
And they're just like displays that you put up on your wall?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's boss.
So we poke them in, put the things in the back, and
yeah,
they're just on the wall.
I have a backpack that I have all my pins on that I usually take to Comic-Cons.
Cool kid.
Yeah, man. So I have... yeah, I have a lot of cool pins. But we'll have a pin show next time, and I'll show some of my pins, and you can show some of your pins. Perfect. That, to me, that mashup of Rogue and Gambit is just brilliant.
It's maybe my favorite one ever now. It's so good.
I can see why. I mean...
And he's holding... Did you see he's holding the card up the bottom? Like,
oh, like Gambit?
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Now, Real Big Cohen says, excited for the new Black Hammer spinoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the name of that? Sucker Pinch? What was it called again?
Well, I mean, there's like several in the making, right? Because Justice League just came out. That's technically a spinoff, kind of.
Yeah, but there was one that was announced at San Diego.
Right. I can't remember the name either.
Yeah, Real Big. What was it called?
Should I Google it?
Sure.
Okay. Someone in the chat will probably beat me to it.
Yeah. But it sounded really good. It's in the encyclopedia, Riley said, but hadn't been... Skulldigger. Right. It's in the encyclopedia, but hadn't been released or anything, and so everybody was wondering about it. Hooniverse Review says, Jess, have you ever read Battle Pug? I highly recommended it. I highly recommend it. Have you read Battle Pug, Kristan?
I haven't, but I have that hardcover.
That sounds like something I'd say.
Which, this thing is cut off now, so you can't even see it. There we go.
Oh, we can see it, yeah.
There we go. Which is a nice, long, weirdly, like, it's hard to... I mean, look at how big this is. This is ridiculous.
That's nicely put together. What...
Yeah, it's nice.
Do you know anything about it?
I know that there's a big pug and he does battle.
You totally sound like me.
I mean, I love the art and it looks so good. It looks so fun. That's all I know. That's literally all I know. I don't know if you can see any of that, but
oh yeah, we can see it. We can see it fine.
Cool. I know nothing. This is the whole thing, though. So I've been wanting to read it for a while, just because look at this. That's just a great visual, right? Look at that. It's so good.
Yeah.
I haven't read it. I don't know.
Let me see. I wish I could figure out how to highlight. I can highlight me, but why can't I highlight you? That is weird. Huh.
I don't know. One day we'll figure this out.
Well, I'm pretty pleased that this went as it did. I mean, it went live. It was public. Everybody was able to sign in properly, and So yeah, Battle Pug. One of the Omni Bros really likes it. I can't think of which one. Probably Geo. He likes some of the offbeat stuff. So yeah, okay. Oh, and Freddie got a notification. Okay, good. So I think
Good.
I've got it figured out. Um, I will check out Battle Pug probably later in the year. As a matter of fact, I can't promise I'll check it out any earlier than November because I have a whole huge amount of stuff I have to do for the new Batter Days in the Batcave channel. We've got a pretty full assortment of reading that I have to do for that. Now I have to read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because Tyler Blunt wants to review that. And so I've got my work cut out for me. But yeah, Battle Pug looks fun. I'll check that out.
I'll read it one day.
That'd be good. That's something we could read together and, review.
That would be fun.
Here's a question for both of us. Now wait a minute. I know I have highlighted somebody before because this is a question for Kristan. Let's see if it's a question for Kristan.
It's up.
Yeah, but I highlighted in the chat with the Omni Bros. Gosh darn it. I know that I highlighted.
Yeah, I remember you highlighting people. I saw an episode where you highlighted people. I don't know.
Huh. Okay, well, here's the question. Hey, Jess and Kristan, hope you guys are keeping cool. Yeah, because it's hot here in Illinois. I have a question for both of you. How many graphic novels do you guys read through on the weekends?
I can't give a set answer for that. It really varies for me personally, especially because sometimes I work on the weekends.
Yeah.
Usually when I work, I can actually read more. So it varies. I don't know. I could tell you what I'm at my Goodreads goal. Let me look.
Oh, yeah.
That up. Okay. Reading challenge. Someday Jess will start one, and then we can see what he's reading. All right, for the year, see, this doesn't help you with your question. I apologize, but 221 so far. Now, here's the thing. I read a lot of different stuff. So some stuff is smaller. I do read some single issues, and that's going to vary my number. So I wouldn't say that's that impressive, but it's a little impressive.
Yeah.
But on average weekend, it really varies for me.
Oh, that reminds me. All these books that I'm going to review today, I need to write them down on my binder paper notepad that I need
Real
to
old
do.
school.
Yeah, my 1950s style note keeping that I need to get with the program. It's hard for me to say on weekends. I would say I get less read on weekends because Sunday I get more weekdays is when I get more read. Weekends is when my daughter comes over on Sunday and she cooks, does laundry, and plays video games with me. And then Saturdays I have 2 YouTube shows I do. So I really don't get that much done reading. So the answer would probably be 0 on weekends. But during the week, I would say I get, let's see, during the week, how many days in a week? So far, 7. I think there are 5. Yeah, 5 reading days in a week. Depending on my mood and how I feel, I think I can get probably anywhere from 5 to 15 read, depending on how I feel. Because sometimes
and depending if they're little Marvel trades, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
See, that matters too. Because if we're reading an Omni, I'm not popping out 5 Omnis a week. I'm just never gonna. It's not gonna happen.
No, if I'm reading an Omni, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Here's one from Real Big Cohen. Jess, what's your reading setting? Do you have a special spot? LOL, light source? As a matter of fact, I do. I have 2 of them, 2 reading settings. One is upstairs in the family room. I have the bitchinest lazy boy chair recliner that is so comfortable, and my laptop is on my right, and I have a stack of reading down below, and I've got a plug-in set of speakers that I listen to ambient music, and I sit right there and read. And I've also got Alexa, so I listen to ambient music on Alexa, or I come down to the back cave and listen to records that are ambient while I read in a very uncomfortable chair. It needs to be restuffed because it's from the 50s and it hasn't been restuffed since the 50s.
Oh no.
It's wildly uncomfortable. I only last about an hour in it. So those are my, thank you for that question. That's actually, and my light source is overhead lights down here. And then I've got a special, just regular standing lamp upstairs. Yeah. So where do you read, Kristan?
Usually I read in the living room on the couch, or if I'm upstairs, I'm reading in bed. I have one of those, what do you call them? Like the arm pillow rest things?
Husbands.
Yeah.
No. That's what they're called.
Really?
Yeah, the
I've never
things you
heard
put
that.
behind that with
Yeah.
they're called husbands.
That seems dated.
I'm sorry, that's really what they're called.
I never knew that. Interesting.
Yeah, I know it
Okay.
sounds like I'm messing with you, but I'm not.
I believe it. Well, you know, we still have like wife beater things, so come on.
Wife beater t-shirts?
Yeah, like why do we call them that, guys? Okay.
I don't know.
It's
I
bad.
hesitate to say that in public now.
Well, it's a real thing. It's weird.
Yeah,
It's 2019 though. We should probably phase that out.
I agree. I won't say it in public.
Well, I guess I read against a husband.
You read,
In bed.
you rest on a husband.
Yeah, I have one of those, and then I have like a reading lamp, like right beside the bed. So I usually do that. And then I have like, you know, a pillow. That's where the books go.
Yeah, that is an issue with, especially with hardcovers, big chunky hardcovers and omnis. Those are hard to read. That's why I like the smaller books.
I have a nice lap desk that works well for those.
Yeah,
It has like a hard top, you know.
right. Worlds in ink. So you walk into a shop and say, "I want to buy a husband." Weird. Yeah,
It's really weird.
That's what they're called.
Oh, Miriam is saying Jess is being serious. They are called. Yeah, I just never heard that. I don't know. I've never heard that. I know in the store on the little label it definitely doesn't say that. I don't know what it says.
Bed rest, probably, or something.
Maybe.
Yeah. We want to get to our first book.
Oh, sure.
And I promise I'll let you do the thumbnail this week, and I won't rip it out of your hands at the last second. I won't be pouring root beer. I'll let you create a masterpiece like you did last time with your cat.
Just start pouring root beer on everything, and then every week, even if you didn't do it in the video, we'll just use that one. It'll be great.
No, we'll use your thumbnail this week because last time's was beautiful, but I had to go with the root beer. I know, and I apologize for that, but we'll use your thumbnail this week.
Fantastic. If anyone wants to see that picture, by the way, it is on the @fangirlsassemble Instagram. I put it up there anyway. I was like, well, I need to use this, so you can see that masterpiece.
That is cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to kick it off here because we were just talking about little Marvel trades, and guess what I read? A little Marvel trade.
Nice.
That would be Jessica Jones' Blindside. I know I'm late to this game.
That's all right.
I'm really late to this one. It's worth the hype. It's Kelly Thompson. You know, I never read Alias because I do not have a good way to read it. That Omni's out of print. It's not on Marvel Unlimited because it is a Max title. So I just have no good way to read that. I haven't read it. But with that being said, you can jump into this having read nothing. And it was such like an episode of the Netflix show, which I love. Let me show you some art. Which, by the way, I had a love-hate relationship with this art. I don't know about you. But mostly, it's so... I'm trying to get used to not having this whole space, by the way, so I keep doing this.
I'm really trying hard to figure out how I can possibly get you... See, I can get me, but why can I not get you? It would be a lot easier if I could just get you.
I don't know. We'll figure it out one day. But if you guys can see this art, maybe you already are familiar with it. I'm sure
Wait,
most
let
people
me
have read
see
it.
if I remove myself from the stream for a sec.
Well, that worked. But I think he's gone forever. Well, you guys can see this now, so that's cool. Kind of. We'll see if he ever comes back.
I can
He's
add
back.
myself. I just can't talk. So whenever you're doing this,
That's
I'll
so
just
weird,
remove.
though.
Yeah, I'll remove myself, and you talk and show your book, and it'll just be you. So goodbye.
Okay, see ya. All right, well, here's some more art. Again, love hate because I thought Jessica's face was pretty dead on. I mean, it felt like Kristen Ritter, right? Which I like. If I can get a good picture of that, maybe not. Yeah, like okay, so that's nice. That looks nice. Except does it? Because look at all this rendering. So I had a big problem with this like kind of 2000s. It reminds me of like I love John Cassaday in Astonishing X-Men, but it reminded me of how rendered that stuff was back then. So I didn't love that. So I kind of didn't love the art overall. But this is a really typical Jessica Jones case story. You can jump in it with no previous knowledge and have a really good time. I really liked it. It ended with a cliffhanger that I won't spoil for anyone, but it made me definitely want to pick up the next one. I actually got this from my library, so I'm gonna demand that they get the next one. But yeah, it was really fun. It was really great. I love seeing Jessica's home life. I love seeing her daughter and her with Luke, and it was just really great. So the hype is real. I'm late to this game, but it was great. Kelly Thompson, she's killing it with the characterization and the dialogue, and I'm definitely going to read the next one. So if you haven't picked this up yet, Jessica Jones Blind Spot, pick it up. Jess.
Right on, man. Now I said that I can. Let's see. Can I do this? No, I just don't see how I can go. How I can highlight just you. No, I'm gonna have. If we're gonna do this, I think I just don't see how I can do it without.
I mean,
dropping out.
It wasn't that bad trying to get in this little square, though.
Yeah.
And at least, like, you can talk. And it's not just me. So that's fine with me.
Okay. Well, I'll stay with Kelly Thompson because I haven't read anything bad by her yet. I love that Jessica Jones book, both of them that she's put out so far. I thought were remarkable, and this book is also remarkable. West Coast Avengers. I read both of them this week, and this is what I like to say: the reason comic books were made, and that's fun. It was just fun. You've got America Chavez, Mr. Hawkeye, Miss Hawkeye. Let's see, a new guy, Fuse, who's dating Hawkette, Kid Omega, who's Quentin Quire, who develops and starts making out with Gwenpool, which I never even saw that coming. And there's all kinds of guest stars, and it's just fun as heck. They are West Coast Avengers, and here they're fighting a giant version of Tigra, who's been taken over by a hunkier version of MODOK, who calls himself, let's see, where is he? Brodock. Calls himself Brodock. He's
oh no.
Yeah, he's all hunky now, and he's turned himself into a hunky-looking dude. He starts making out with Kate Bishop. He's turned these women into these giant sea monsters. There's also land sharks that invade. Gwenpool shows up, and of course, I love anything that has to deal with Gwenpool. because she is just about one of my favorite characters ever. She's just so funny. Kelly Thompson writes her really well. So there's lots of fights. Tigra is nominally a good gal. She turns evil in this. So they do a lot of investigating and a lot of fighting. And they're trying to form a headquarters for the West Coast Avengers that Kate's putting together. And they do that by Kid Omega shows up, and he's got a reality show covering him, and so they're on camera a lot. So there's lots of what was that Steve Carell show, The Office? There's a lot of those moments where they're talking to the camera. So then Kate gets turned into Kate Hawk by Brodok, and I don't know. It's all hilarious. America Chavez is in there kicking butt, and Fuse is interesting. He can turn his body into the last metal he touches. They go on to the Jimmy Kimmel show. It's very funny, very well done. And then in the second book, Kate's ex-boyfriend, Novar, the Kree warrior, shows up. There's a Legion of Evil meeting because they thought they had the West Coast to themselves, so they capture the West Coast Avengers. The art is fun, and the story is a blast. So and of course it got canceled because Marvel doesn't like fun. So if you like fun and having a good time, you need to read West Coast Avengers. 2 5-issue volumes. Lots of fun. I enjoyed these to the max. I come with very little baggage to these books. The Uncanny Omar did not like these because he didn't like the way Quentin Quire or America Chavez were portrayed. And see, I don't have any previous experience with those guys, so I don't have an issue with it. It's got Gwenpool in it. I love Kate Bishop Hawkeye, and it's fun. So I just dig it.
I gotta read those.
Yeah.
Did you say it's just the 2, or is there another one coming?
Just 2. It ended with issue 10.
Cool.
Jess, you need to use the solo layout on the guest to full screen Kristan. Well, solo layout. There we go. Thanks, dude.
Someone did it.
Thanks. I see it now. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Worlds in Ink, the MVP. All right. Now we know. Thanks, dude.
Now you don't have to leave and make it real weird.
I don't have to leave my show.
All right. I got a big one coming up here. Again, another one I'm late to. I feel like this is the week of I'm late to all these stories, which is Batman White Knight.
Oh, that's okay being late to that.
Do I even need to go and even say anything about this? Everyone already knows about this. And you've seen the art, and it's great art. But just in case you...
It's been a while since it's been out, so a tiny recap can probably help.
Yeah, just in case you don't know the story. Pretty much, Batman's went a little off the rails. I think that's a good way to put it. And the Joker turns sane. So he finds these pills, and he takes these pills, and now he's a sane person, and it's very strange. So within that, they also, go through a lot of social issues in Gotham, and there's a lot of talking about things that, happen in a typical Batman issue that just are never talked about. So, Batman destroying millions of dollars worth of property in Gotham, and they actually go through that and talk about how it's an issue and why isn't anyone talking about this. And even hurting innocent bystanders and things like that, which the Avengers went over in the movie, and that was a whole thing. And this kind of touches on, things like that. And again, social issues in Gotham. I found a lot of the social issues were reflecting modern times. And that was interesting and something that hasn't been told in a Batman story before. So it's definitely not a typical Batman story. It really explored interesting topics that, again, we just tend to read a fun book and Batman book and ignore, but they really dove into it. So I don't know. I really enjoyed this. I know a lot of people are up and down on it lately. I heard a lot of praise at first, and now I'm hearing like, oh, it was fine or it was whatever. But
Oh,
I really liked
really?
it. Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it
Yeah,
was worth the
I
hype.
liked it a lot for the reasons you're saying, that it went into areas that you normally don't see.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm due to read that again because I think that it benefits from a second and third reading.
Yeah, and they just announced the deluxe hardcover, so that is coming. Although this is a really nice, like, it's a really floppy trade, and you know I like a floppy trade that you can just open up and it's a really nice quality trade.
Cool.
So I enjoyed it. Also, but I do want to say, hey, when the heck did Sean Gordon Murphy drop the Gordon? What's happening here? What do I
Yeah.
call him? What?
Yeah.
Why?
I heard somebody mention that the other day.
I don't get it.
Yeah, that is definitely a great book. I enjoyed it a lot.
I liked it. It's one of those things like I haven't read tons and tons of Batman, so you can just jump into it, and it is a standalone story, so
Yeah.
there's no connection to anything, and it really jumps into issues that I never thought I'd see in a Batman book, which is cool. Because to do a Batman story uniquely when there's been a bajillion out there and they keep coming is is pretty cool. He did it well.
Yeah. Good. I agree completely. Um, let's see. What do I want to cover next? I'll since it's San Diego Comic-Con weekend. Let's see. Solo layout. Doink.
Nice.
Thank
You're
you.
nailing it.
Finally, I got this thing now. Bad Weekend by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This was really, really good. It's taken from the current criminal run that he's doing. I believe it's a back feature in criminal issues, maybe 2 and 3 that he's doing. It's Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. It's about an embittered old cartoonist from the comic books and it name drops real cartoonists and real creators in this book, which is really cool. So you'll recognize, names like Joe Siegel and Stan Lee and all these, but the main character's name is Hal Crane, and he created. He's embittered because he created something that got popular, and he didn't get to see any money from it. So of course he's quite bitter over that. He's a drunk and a bitter man, and not very happy. Treats his assistants like crap. He's an old guy, and he's at this awards show being shepherded around by one of his old assistants right here, who had talent, and Hal Crane pretty much told him to get out of the game. It'll break your heart. And he is seen here. Here's Hal Crane, the old man, at the seeing a cosplayer and chatting her up, and she ends up slapping him in the face. And the guy asks, "What happened?" And he said, "I offered her $100 to come to my room." And he said, "You don't do that. That's a cosplayer." And he said, I thought it was a, I thought it was a hooker. Isn't she a booth babe?" And he's like, "No, times have changed. This is like a cosplayer that's come here to, have fun. You don't do that." So, it's it's kind of a crime story, a little bit. Hal Crane's out to find some missing art pages, and his assistant has been the one assigned to him because Hal Crane has been summoned to come to this Comic-Con to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award, which he's pretty much drunk the whole time, and his former assistant, is worried that he's going to botch the whole thing up and be super bitter about it. And so they're on a mission to try and find these missing pages. and it deteriorates into even finding um, a burglar, a thief, a guy who's going to break in with them to a guy's house to try and find these missing pages that mean so much to Hal Crane, because his original art, like everybody else's original art, got sold out from under him back in the day. And it's really interesting to see him name drop all these famous creators and the famous creators that are at the shows and that have been not embittered, that he's encountered and talks to, and they don't make appearances necessarily in the book, but it's a very cool, very interesting slice of life thing for any comic book fan to see what it's like for an old creator like this to go through, and what it's like for this young former assistant to see what's happened to this old guy. And before you write it off as just kind of a slice of life, it doesn't really sound that interesting. It's just about an old cartoonist. This is Ed Brubaker. It's got an ending that is amazing. The last 2 pages of this book just flipped the script, knocked me out, made me go, whoa, I can't believe it. And it was amazing. This book, very thin. You can read it in half hour, 45 minutes. So great. I loved it. Typical Ed Brubaker. I loved it, loved it, loved it. You guys really need to get this. And I think there's a special edition out there somewhere that comes signed with little postcards and all kinds of things or something. I was not privy to that. I wish I could have gotten it, but I mean, this is something, not only is it fun to read because it's all about comic books, it's got that great Ed Brubaker writing. Yes, it's standalone. You don't need to know anything about anything to read this. It's completely standalone, Miriam. You can go into it cold, and it's very easy to read.
That's something I'm checking out soon on Hoopla.
And I think I might be able to figure out Hoopla. Travis Gilmer has made it his life's goal to get me to get Hoopla. He, Miriam just borrowed it from Hoopla.
Yes.
Wow, you Hoopla people, you're amazing. Apparently a neighboring county has borrowing privileges with my county, so I can go there and register, and they have 10 books a month checkout privileges with Hoopla. And so it's just a question of my getting to that county, because it's actually kind of far away, and signing up, and that way I may be able to get Hoopla. So it's
worth it. I kept telling you, I said there has to be a way.
Yeah, you're right. And Travis Gilmer has made it clear he's going to bug me till I get Hoopla.
Nice.
So I'm going to try it. Actually, this week is a good week for me to try it.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
I think you're going to nail it. And 10 checkout, because there's some people in the group who have like 3, and I feel bad for them.
Yeah, 10 sounds pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Yeah.
So my next pick is from my library. It's not from Hoopla, but it's from my library. And I picked it based on the cover alone. And it is called Cannonball by, what's her name? Kelsey Roten. So I liked the cover, and I was like, I'll just jump into this. And I enjoyed the art. It's very, very cartoony, but I liked it a lot. So this story is about Caroline. She is the main character, the girl with blue hair that you're going to keep seeing. And she's incredibly unlikable. She can't keep a relationship. She goes through girlfriend after girlfriend. Her friends are better than her, but I don't know, she just doesn't treat anyone right. She's not really trying too hard. She wants to be a writer, but she doesn't want to have a real job, so she's just kind of doing nothing but writing and submitting to like magazine she deems worthy, and doesn't want to like, change up what she's doing to like, I don't know, become mainstream. It's very like it's a little pretentious. The dialogue, especially the dialogue, reminded me of like the sarcastic tones in Ghost World. So I don't know if you liked Ghost World. A lot of
Oh, I
people didn't.
loved Ghost World.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't, but I really love Ghost World. So I was kind of like reading it, and I was like, okay, you know, Ghost World, those two girls, they're quite unlikable, but I like the dialogue and I like the moments throughout it. So I was actually kind of enjoying this. And, we really just go through her life. Like, not even a ton happens, but eventually she kind of does change how she's writing. And she writes a young adult novel, which is something she said she would never do. So she writes one and she gets some success from that. And I start thinking, oh, yeah, this will be cool. We'll have some character development. She won't be so pretentious anymore, maybe. Like, she's getting some success and people are like praising her for her thoughts. But of course, that's not what happens. And I guess I won't spoil everything, but she kind of gets more unlikable. She gets some
Wow.
success and she becomes even more unlikable. And then I start toward the end, I'm like, man, do I even like this anymore? Because I feel like what I want to happen and how I want her to become more likable, like, won't be happening. And of course, I get to the end, and guess what? It just ends. It just ends, and nothing happens. Like,
Uh-oh.
I can't even explain to you. I won't tell you what happened, but I'll tell you it's nothing. So, like, it's really, I can't describe it without, I guess, ruining it. So I won't, but truly it's nothing. And I got to that point, and, we've talked about this before, I think, but a bad ending can really ruin the entire experience.
Yeah.
For me, at least. And it did. I got to the end and I was like, ugh. And I'm like looking for more. I'm like, wait, how is that the end? And it just broke me. So I do not recommend this. I ended up not liking it. I think I gave it a 2 stars on Goodreads.
Oh.
Because the ending just wasn't really an ending, and it kind of made me realize, oh, all that I went through with her wasn't worth it, because
Wow.
she ended up not having any character growth at all. And I hated that.
Yeah.
I hated that.
Yeah.
Then it just made me mad. So I finished this and I was just mad about it. So I don't know. Maybe you guys can check it out and you can see if you can be as mad as me. But I truly don't think it's worth it. And it's a good, like, let's see, almost 300-page book.
Yeah, it looks like a big commitment to.
It was a bit of a commitment.
In.
And I was disappointed, and I feel sad. And I feel really sad because, like, LGBT character, it's an indie book. I like the art a lot. I was enjoying the dialogue, even the hipster stuff, right? And it really did remind me of like some Ghost Worldy stuff. But Ghost World had an ending, and this did not. And I don't recommend it. I'm sad about it.
Did you ever see the movie Ghost World?
I did.
Yeah.
I liked it too.
I liked it. I liked the book and the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I don't feel like reviewing that book because I'm getting sick of that. Let's see. I will review this book, which I loved, and that is Black Magic by Greg Rucka. This is a very interesting book. It is about... let's see. Can I show this? No, I can't show that. This I can show. There's a place called Portsmouth, and there's a very attractive woman who is not only a witch, comes from a long line of witches, but she's also a cop in Portsmouth. And it soon becomes clear that something is out to get her as either a witch or a cop. I don't want to spoil it for you. It's by Greg Rucka, so it is incredibly well written. The art is by Nicola Scott, so it's incredibly well drawn. And it deals with it's a police procedural also. So Greg Rucka, of course, does that really well. The art's fantastic. And the story goes about how these attempts are made to get at this woman and she puts all kinds of wards on her house and spells to make sure she's protected. She's got this woman here is sort of is an old witch, although you can't tell. But she is trying to protect her friend, the motorcycle riding cop. There is another organization that is bent on killing witches, and that's who they think is trying to kill her. I don't want to go into anything else because that'd be spoiler material, but there's other supernatural causes that factor into this. It is extremely well done. It is a page turner and a half. I loved it. There's all kinds of magic, supernatural stuff. There's all kinds of police procedural stuff, two of my favorite things. I mean, you put magic and police together, that is my kind of stuff. And Greg Rucka knows how to do it. And if you notice, it's in kind of gray tones, which I thought was interesting. There are some, they use their color judiciously, like right here. They use it right here. There was one scene. Yeah, here's one scene. I guess I can show this because it doesn't really show you anything. Here's a scene where they really use color a lot. But it's about the long line of witches that this Rowan Black comes from. That's her name. I can't say enough about this book. The only thing that's a bummer is that it ends on when it's clear that there's more to come. And I remember reading this book back in 2016, and only now it's come out in hardcover. So I really don't want to wait another 3 years. I think I'm going to have to be one of those people that picks it up in trades and then trades up for another hardcover, because I absolutely want to know exactly what happens and what happens right away. It's really nice. It came with a ribbon and everything. It's a very nice book by Image Press. It's a high quality issues 1 through 11, and I can't say enough about Black Magic. It is great. I really enjoyed this book.
That makes me hopeful that Image will start doing the ribbon thing.
Yeah.
Because that is the biggest downside to their nice hardcovers, is they're not as nice as the library editions because there's no ribbon.
Right.
I love that ribbon. Also, the answer is when you get Hoopla, you can read Black Magic and trades on there.
Oh my gosh.
And then you don't have to buy the trades. You just look at the hardcover.
And then there's extras in here that are magical, har, that like not only does it have character designs, but then it's got a whole history of her history written down, the history of her family. I mean, this is some world building going on here. Gosh, that'd be great. I could just read it on Hoopla. Ooh, that's like the extra kick in the butt I needed. Like, can you go on Hoopla right now and tell me what issue it's up to?
Well, they don't do singles on there, but they
they just do trades. Okay,
they do trades and the hardcovers, so you kind of have an option. Have there been trades after that? Do you know?
That I don't know, actually.
Let me check. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think there are, because they have the first two trades and the hardcover. So
okay,
but there's plenty of other things where I've done that, like with Saga. Like if I'm waiting for a hardcover, I'm just going to read the trades on there.
Yeah,
and then you don't have to do that. You don't have to double dip. You don't have to sell things later. It's great.
Okay, this is me thinking. It's not dead air for those of you who are just listening. I'm thinking.
You're trying to figure out when you can drive there, right?
It's exactly what I'm doing. I think maybe Tuesday or Wednesday I can go to it's Prince William County I have to go to. So I'm going to have to scope out the library system in Prince William County and see if I can figure this out. This is really exciting. I think this is exciting because it sounds like what a great thing.
It's the best. And you know Giant Days is my favorite. I'm reading that in singles on Hoopla to just be caught up with it. And I'm buying the hardcovers, which are taking forever to come out. So
I thought you said they didn't do singles.
They didn't do singles for Image, but they do singles for Boom.
Okay.
It varies on publisher.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So my next book is another one that I'm late to the game. I'm just going to keep with it.
That's cool.
And that is Superior Spider-Man. I'm pretty late on this one. This is
that is kind of late.
Pretty late.
That's a cool cover, though.
Yeah, this is like the variant homage cover. I really like it.
Where'd you get that?
IST.
How long ago?
Oh, probably back in the day.
5 years ago?
It's been a bit, so it's just been sitting on my shelf, guys.
That's cool. I didn't get that cover. I was dumb. I forgot to get that.
Yeah, you weren't dumb. You just didn't know.
No, I didn't.
But for those of you who haven't read it, maybe it's just me. I feel like it is. This is only the first volume. I've only read the first volume. I'm toward the end of the second one, so I can't really comment on the entire story yet. But I'm really looking forward to finishing it. And for those of you who don't know, if you've been under a rock, like maybe I have, this is Doc Ock taking over Peter Parker's body. So he is the Spider-Man. It is very unique. I know a lot of people were angry about it when it came out. It seems to be pretty beloved now, though, now that it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I can see why. It's very, very unique. You're never going to see something like this anywhere else, and it is obviously not your average Peter Parker Spider-Man story. So I'm really having a good time with it. I really like it. I think it's aged well. It's still good. And, I'm happy to finally get it off my shelf and read it.
Yeah, you're right. People were upset with it when it first came out, and now it's considered classic, I think, almost.
Yeah, people are hoping for that Omni. Of course, probably by the time I read it, there will be an Omni announced because I'm like, I got these hardcovers just sitting there, and now they're out of print. So
I see that's my preferred format, oversized hardcover. I'd much rather read that than an Omni. That's much easier.
They are
to
very
read.
nice. Yeah, it is much easier, and you feel accomplished once you read.
Right.
You feel more accomplished because it's faster.
Right.
I can't say much else about it because I don't want to spoil anything, but it's very unique, and I'm really enjoying it.
Awesome. Worlds in Ink says, didn't Giant Days just win an Eisner? Did it?
Yes, for best ongoing series, right before it ended. So I'm happy about that. They
well
really
deserved. It. I think you were the one that discovered it.
Out of the world, probably not.
My world.
But I've been pushing it on people, that's for sure.
Yeah, my world anyway. Which counts.
Yeah, that does count.
Yeah, it's my world. Everybody else is just visiting. Okay, the next one I got clued into by, I wish I could say exactly who it was on the group, the Omnibus Collectors Comic Swapping Community group. Or it may have been somebody in the chat here on an Omnibros, but it's Hawkman by Robert Venditti, and they were right. This is like the most interesting Hawkman's ever been. It's well known that Hawkman has had many lives, that he's been reincarnated constantly from Carter Hall to Carter Hall. And it's always seemed to be his destiny to be a flying type of guy. But he starts to question himself and wonder about himself. Is he learning anything about himself? And why is he getting resurrected? Why is he getting reincarnated? And what what is the purpose? What is the point? What is he not learning? And so, and how he can move forward. And so he starts having dreams and visions, and he searches out. He steals something as an archaeologist. That's what these previous pages are. That he's stealing something that will help him see visions. So he goes to see Madame Xanadu in London to help him on his journey. And he sees all kinds of visions of his previous selves. He was even flying policeman on Krypton. And so this book is basically a journey to discover himself, discover his past lives, discover himself. And in so doing, he discovers that there's something that he has in his past lives. He has left himself messages in his past lives about a coming danger. And he is now piecing together the pieces of the puzzle of the coming danger, and he is becoming aware of it. He even goes back in time through these mystical ways. He goes back in time to confront himself, to get these clues. He visits the microverse and visits the atom. He visits Dinosaur Island. He puts together all these clues. It is fascinating. It is really interesting. As I said, it is the most interesting Hawkman's ever been, I think. And I've been reading him a long time. He was interesting to me as a 10-year-old, but as I got older, he's hasn't been that interesting to me. But Venditti, he writes really well, and I think everybody should give this DC book a try. They really set him loose and let him write whatever he wanted to write, and I think this is a good new direction for Hawkman. Really fresh and interesting. The book ends on a cliffhanger. It's clearly not over with. There's still a lot more to come, and I look forward to it. I was really, really impressed with the writing and the artwork in this book. Brian Hitch is the artist, and art is where he should be, not writing, arting.
That was cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. I really enjoyed it.
And it's on Hoopla, so.
Well, there you go.
Just gonna say that for everything. There's a question for us.
Spider-Man Shed?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. I'm not familiar with that.
So that's a no from me.
Yeah, I've not heard of Spider-Man Shed.
My last book.
Yeah, I've got one last one too.
Okay, that would be Despicable Deadpool.
Oh, I want to hear about this.
So it's nice and chunky. It is an oversized hardcover, but it is nice and chunky. It's a good size. It's smaller than like a minibus, but it's pretty thick. Let me show you some of this interior art. This is, it wraps up the Deadpool World's Greatest storyline. And it is Jerry Dugan. He is known now to be the longest running Deadpool writer of all time. Mm-hmm. So that's really fun. I can't say much about this because it is the end of an ongoing storyline, but it's called Despicable Deadpool because he really does get quite despicable. I mean, there's no better way to put it. It is an appropriate name because the end of World's Greatest, you'll go, ooh, this guy's terrible. So not even just the general, Deadpool's always pretty terrible, but he always has a heart and you still like him and you can feel for him. It gets to the point where you're just like, ooh, this guy's really gone off the deep end. He's crazy, but he's super crazy and it's real bad. And he's killing people and it's real bad. So, I kind of ended World's Greatest and I was like, how am I going to start liking him again? because I really was not having a good time with him. And you kind of get to explore that in this last bit of Dugan's run. And he does a good job of making you like him again somehow, because he still does despicable things.
Mm.
But toward the end, like it's a really good ending. I love how he ended it. See if I can get to. He actually makes an appearance in it himself, and
Oh,
he talks about how he is the longest running Deadpool writer, and of course, Deadpool like shoots him, and he dies. But that's really fun, and it's a really good time, and it has a really great ending. And we just talked about a book earlier that I really hated the ending of, so this was very nice and refreshing. Um, and it's a nice Marvel hardcover,
mm.
and it's a good price. It's I think it was like 20 something on ISD, so it's great. It really wraps up World's Greatest really well. If you guys haven't read World's Greatest, you can jump right into that. And you can get those pretty discounted now, the oversized hardcovers. So I would recommend doing that and then getting this, and I really loved it.
Awesome. I love Deadpool. That's a run I still need to read.
You're going to enjoy it, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, my last book is The Fuse. I'm late to this. This is way old, I think. When was this? I feel like it. 2014, yeah. So I'm late to this. Um, this is, I don't even, I remember collecting it in floppies, but never reading it. Let me see if I can get a picture of what the fuse is. This is the fuse. It's up, orbiting the Earth, and it has its own police force. It is, it's a orbiting energy platform, and it's got its own police force, and it's got a shuttle that brings a new policeman from Germany onto the fuse. It's not considered a prime job to serve on the fuse. It's but for some reason this guy wants to do it, and he gets hooked up immediately with a homeless person's death happens right in front of him as soon as he steps on to the fuse from the shuttle. His partner is investigating the crime already. That's how they get introduced. They are then they are they have a hard time, of course, getting along together. This is another police procedural. This book, volume 1, you'll want to get on Hoopla because it's out of print. It's not wildly expensive. I had to chase it down to find it. But it's one of those where they don't get along, but then they get along in kind of a funny way. And they have a homeless person that they live inside the workings of the fuse, inside the various it'd be like living inside the an oil rig type of thing. So then another homeless person turns up, and apparently, and they're called cablers, and these people don't turn up dead that often, and they start to see a connection, and it starts to lead to a political conspiracy, and it starts to get really, really good because they, as a police procedural, I was not familiar with Anthony Johnston. I was not familiar with this guy's writing, but this is, I thought this was really good as kind of a police procedural in space where there were different rules, but kind of the same rules. There weren't any aliens or anything involved. It was just humans, but they were set. They were still set in space. So things were a little bit different up there. There was still a mayor's office and a mayoral race. There was a little shenanigans going on with love affair that may affect the mayoral race. I don't want to go any further than that, but there was enough twists and turns that it kept my interest really, really well. Actually, there were a lot of twists and turns. This was a really well thought out book because I'd say there were solid 3 or 4 plot twists that kept me going, oh, whoa, I didn't see that coming. So that kept me very interested. And I thought this was a really well done book. There are 3 other volumes that I picked up, so I'm looking forward to reading those. So I urge you to give this a chance. It's called The Fuse. It's different people from different backgrounds. I can't show you that because it gives away a plot point. But I enjoyed The Fuse a lot. I just now realized that I do read a lot of crime fiction, and I guess that means I really enjoy it. So it's really cool.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm already ready.
Is that Hoopla?
That's Hoopla.
Right on, man.
There we go. It sounds good.
Wow.
And they're out of print, so that's perfect, right?
Yeah. Well, I know the first are the other ones. The first one is. I don't know about the other ones.
There's only 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. They're all on there.
Man, Hoopla rules.
I know. I'll be reading it.
And now, is Hoopla like one thing, or does it depend on the library?
So that's an interesting question because before Faria got Hoopla, I thought it was the same thing over every library because I went from like my hometown library and then I moved. And the one where I'm at now, they both have the same stuff. So she's finding that one of the, because she's apparently going to every library ever in Maryland and getting Hoopla. So one of those libraries doesn't have hardcovers. Oh. And then one of them doesn't have DC. So I guess it can vary. But from what I'm hearing, and I've talked to Mary M about this a little bit too, and she's in New Jersey. So her library has the same stuff mine does. So I think generally it's the same, but I guess it can vary. And the fact that yours is going to have 10 makes me think it's going to have everything.
Okay, all good.
Checkouts, so hopefully that's the case.
Okay. Well, I look forward to becoming a Hoopla head.
And then you can say it for every book like I do.
Yeah, right. And just badink and show it to...
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I'm doing. Every time you bring up a book, I'm like, oh, does that? Okay, cool. At this point, I assume every Image book and DC book I'm going to find on Hoopla. So I don't buy a lot of those anymore. I don't have to.
Well, I have a serious space problem now, so I'm pretty desperate for something like that.
This
that
will
would
help
be
you.
Great. And do you read it on an iPad or your phone, or what do you read it on?
The majority of the time, my iPad. But if I'm at work and I have a lull in work, I'm taking out my phone and I'll read it panel by panel on there. Okay. And it works well. But most of the time, it's my iPad.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, right on, man. This was a good show. Thanks to all our viewers. Thanks to all our chatters. This was a lot of fun. The debut of the OmniDog and OmniCat comic book review show.
Mm-hmm. Here's the cat. Here's the cat. Oh, no. Oh, no. Here we go. It's the best.
That is. Okay, so we will see you again in 2 weeks. And thank you to the chat. We had a lot of good questions and a lot of fun stuff to talk about. And we appreciate all our viewers. So we will see you in 2 weeks. And thanks, Kristan. I will post your thumbnail as soon as I get the picture.
And I'll make it quick.
No, that's fine. Thanks to everybody. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Bye, guys.